Hey.
Welcome back.
Hey, guess what movie I just watched?
Is this your topic?
No.
What?
Wish. Oh. We did watch Wish for the first time.
We watched it on an anniversary trip.
Yeah, and we paid for it.
We watched it.
We
watched it on YouTube. We rented it on YouTube, which is like
It was like $5.
the IRS called me after that, and they were like, "Do you really?"
They're like, "Are you okay?"
Listen, we're all about being positive on this show about art.
Except Wish can die.
Wish was really bad. I'm sorry. It's
we took a long time, like, to get to watching it. I think I was putting it off.
well, because we didn't want to see it in theaters.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pay for it, but
We
then
didn't
we
want to
ended
pay.
up paying for it.
We didn't want to pay like $8 or $9 or whatever to see it like first. I was like, the Disney Plus thing where you can just
It'll
be like,
just
it'll
go
just
to
go on
Disney
Disney
Plus.
Plus. So we did that, and then we didn't even use Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But anyway, we watched it. Bad movie.
Bad movie.
Bad movie.
Bad movie.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother episode though. And I guess, the point of our podcast is that we can find the good. And
Okay, well,
so, what's your topic today?
we got to do the intro, man.
Oh yeah.
You always forget to do the intro, and I think it's
Oh.
your turn to start it.
Okay, well, welcome to Gallery.
Yay. What's your topic?
All right. I have a lot to say about this one.
Okay.
Oh wait, what are you doing this episode?
I'm doing music.
I'm doing poetry.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So basically we are doing a similar thing.
We are
but
doing a
yours
similar
is
thing.
just set to music.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
That is unless you have really bad songwriting.
Mine's pretty good songwriting,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Then I guess it's both poetry.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of poetry, though. Is this going to be embarrassing?
Yeah.
What era is it from? Is it from, like, Greek mythology or, like,
It's like modern.
it's modern?
I'm not going to read you the Iliad.
Is it Shel Silverstein?
Oh, good guess. No.
Oh, dang. Is it Roald Dahl? He's not really a poet. Is it Milk and Honey?
Rupi Kaur? No.
Is it...
Are those the only three poets you know?
No, I also know Edgar Allan Poe. And
Edgar Allan Poe, like,
Homer.
his thing, I don't think it really was poetry.
Yeah, it was.
His thing was like short stories.
Nevermore. He's a poet.
I guess.
Isn't that where poem came from?
Edgar Allan Poe?
Poem. Is that real? Or
Am I stupid?
Am I stupid? Anyway, okay, what is
Wait.
it?
Are we stupid? Comment below if you think we're
Can I
stupid.
Google that? Oh, we're using our phones to film. Never mind.
Well, we'll just have to come back on that one.
Alexa. Where does the word poem comes from?
Did you do the Alexa noise yourself?
The word poem comes from... Okay, all right. Shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about...
Have
Sorry
your
I
own
did that.
reality over
Okay,
there.
we always do
Okay.
this. What's your thing?
Okay. I am talking... Okay, I'm going to do a little intro to this before I actually say my topic.
Word.
So, in the 1950s and 60s, there was a very popular form of poetry that can be classified as postmodern poetry, and it is called confessional poetry.
Oh.
And the reason this came about was because it's right after World War II, and
Okay.
there's been some pretty harrowing things like the Holocaust, and we're going into the Cold War and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these sentiments that are going around that you're trying to keep inside, because if you say anything, it could be like, you're a Nazi, or
Yeah.
you're a Russian,
Tensions are high.
Tensions are high. But then there were these poems that were being published that were highly individual. And they talked about unhappiness in the home, where in the 50s, this idealism of happiness and stuff was being pushed. Like, you didn't
Yeah.
really talk about
yeah.
that stuff. And it even dove into taboo topics like mental illness and sexuality and
Dang.
all of
Which,
that.
like, kind of didn't really exist in the 50s.
I mean, it definitely existed. But
Well, okay.
you didn't
mental
talk about
illness
it.
existed, but, like, the concept of it, like, talking about it.
You
or,
didn't
like,
talk about it. It was
acknowledging
taboo,
didn't
yeah.
really- yeah.
And so this confessional poetry is a really interesting way to see where people were at, actually.
Okay.
And so it isn't this like, I love everything and the grass is green. Just smell the grass, the dirt.
The
It
dirt,
wasn't that.
Just like in a dream they'd be.
And so that leads me to talk about a poet named Laura Gilpin.
Oh man, have I heard? I think I've heard that name before.
You have, and you'll remember what?
Okay, never mind. Keep going.
What? Do you know it?
Maybe.
Guess.
It's not the cow one, is it?
It is.
Really? You're talking about the two-headed calf? No way, dude.
Good job.
This poem is awesome.
So Laura Gilpin is an American poet. She passed in 2007, so very recent. And she has been titled a confessional poet by a lot of reviewers.
Okay.
And so it's this idea that it's this individual experience. It could be trauma-based and stuff. It's in opposition to idealism.
Dang.
So we're going to talk about...
now that you say that and I know this poem. Okay.
We're going to talk about... I actually have 3 poems from her.
Sweet.
Because I feel like everybody's only heard that first one. But we will talk about the first one. It is called The Two-Headed Calf. This is one of my favorite poems of all time. And it blew up in popularity in recent years, particularly with social media and like TikTok and stuff. And so I'm sure most, if not all of you have heard it. But something I've noticed is that a lot of people hear it. They find themselves brought to tears and stuff. They're having this insane visceral reaction and they don't know why. And I think this is an interesting way for people to get introduced to poetry.
Cool.
And the capability that such few words can have. This poem is only 9 lines.
Yeah.
And it is incredible. I'll read it now.
Read it.
Tomorrow, when the farm boy finds this freak of nature, they will wrap his body in newspaper and carry him to the museum. But tonight, he is alive and in the north field with his mother. It is a perfect summer evening. The moon rises over the orchard, the wind in the grass, and he stares into the sky. There are twice as many stars as usual.
Oh my gosh.
So,
dude, are you about to cry?
No.
The line where they say they're going to take him to the museum and then it immediately goes to like, but tonight he's in the field. Oh, dude, that like those 2 lines next to each other just really hit for me.
Yeah. And so I'll talk about that and why the structure is so powerful. Cool. And why this could have been put in almost any way, but Laura Gilpin just amazingly put it together to create this emotional reaction in us. And I should start with, this is subjective. It's art, it's poetry. And so it may not resonate with you, but it may resonate with you in other places. And there's a lot of things that you can take from this poem.
Yeah.
That's one of the most beautiful things about poetry is that you're probably not going to understand the same things as another person from the same poem. And so you can analyze this poem all you want. This is just my interpretation and some of the sources that I found, which I'll list in our detailed notes. So there's my forward.
Good forward.
But for those of you who kind of didn't understand the poem, it is about a 2-headed calf.
Literally a 2-headed calf.
So a little baby cow with 2 different heads, a little genetic mutation. The first stanza says that the farm boys are going to kill him in the morning and they're going to put him in newspaper, which is trash, and take him to the museum so everybody can look at him forever because it's weird and creepy. Yeah. And it's interesting that they use the words freak of nature and they use newspaper, which is trash and stuff. So the first stanza is very cold, very hard, very unforgiving. Yeah. But then it is right next to the next paragraph, which that first stanza says, tomorrow this will all happen and it's all bad and it's all scary. But tonight, and then we see that the calf is alive. He's in the field with his mother. And when he looks up into the sky, he sees twice as many stars as usual because he has 2 heads. Yeah. And so...
Man. Dude, that is some powerful writing.
Isn't that chilling? Dang. What does it mean to you? What's like the theme that you can draw from this?
Well, what I was going to say when you're reading is the first stanza with the newspaper in the museum and the freak of nature. It sounds very industrial. Very, it's going to a building. It's being wrapped up in something that's mass produced. And it's going to become a product essentially that people come and gawk at. And then it completely switches to some really tender, serene, sacred writing.
Which is based in nature.
Exactly.
If you're doing industry versus nature, the first paragraph's all about industry. The second paragraph's like literal physical nature, but also the natural relationship between a mother and child.
I get a couple things from this poem. I think it's a good poem for people to self-project themselves onto the calf. They don't belong. They consider themselves a, quote, freak of nature. And they can find this solace in, oh, tomorrow I'm going to go out into the world, or I'm going to post on social media and I'm going to be gawked at. But tonight I'm just by myself. I'm in my home or something and everything's right. And so I think that's where I find a lot of like empathetic relatability, because I don't really consider myself a freak of nature. I'm pretty normal, but not freak of nature. I'm not saying that people that aren't normal are freak of nature, but like people who consider themselves different and have, and worry about their.
Well, and it often is very difficult to be unique.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So I have empathetic relatability for people who might think that, and it's a specific feeling that I think this poem really captures. And also, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, and just the other thing is just finding beauty in things that other people would find like holy crap, oh my gosh. I don't know what to say, but like those are like the two kind of things that I get from it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It kind of repeats a lot of the sentiments that I found online. I actually read a Reddit thread about this poem.
Reddit.
That a lot of people were like, why does this make me cry so much?
Yeah.
And some people tried to explain it, and they explained what it meant to them and stuff. And so I picked out kind of a list of themes that people saw.
Okay.
There was empathy towards those who are different.
Okay.
And
different, not freaks of nature. Different.
They also talk about disability themes and how it feels to be...
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, okay. How it feels to be disabled or like physically, and like you can see that you are different from other people in a world with mostly able-bodied people.
Yeah.
And the whole epidemic of ableism and everything like that.
Oh, man.
That's a whole thing to jump into. There's empathy particularly towards animals.
Oh, a literal interpretation.
Mm-hmm, a literal interpretation. And so where this, like, there was a lot of, very sad animal lovers in the comments that spoke of very hard things, like moms being separated from their calves because the calf would drink the dairy milk of the mom, which needs to be sold and stuff. And so that also led to another theme of the first stanza is all about the calf being of value to the farmer. And if it doesn't have like commercial value, like a monetary value attached to it, then it's worthless.
Yikes.
But the second paragraph goes into, I have value, I'm living, I'm with my parents, I'm happy.
Kind of going off of that, in addition to like the calf not being of monetary value to the farmer, its immediate value is placed in its ability to become a phenomenon, like a viral, I guess that word doesn't work with the time period this poem is written, but you know what I'm saying, like a viral thing.
But only dead.
Yeah, but only dead. And so like, that's a really good point that you make, that like, where does your value lie? Is it in, being with your mother and just being in the stillness of your existence and being satisfied with that? Or is it in being able to rake in like attention and like worth, yeah, quote unquote worth. Dang. Dude, this is like throwing me for a loop.
It keeps going.
Okay.
It talks about the microcosm. Even in the insignificant life, there is value.
Yes. Ooh.
It talks
Rococo paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It talks about how ignorance is bliss, because us as the audience, we're in a special position where we know what will happen to the calf, but the calf does not.
Ooh.
Even though it's the subject of the story.
This is crazy.
I know. If
you think poetry is lame, read this poem and then look at all the Reddit comments on it.
And another one that I found that I thought was meaningful to me was, it's like growing up. You're first surrounded by family and it's safe, and you get to spend your summer nights like laying on the trampoline and learning about constellations.
Holy frick.
And then the next minute your parents are gone and you're paying your taxes on your own, and it's difficult to be alone in the world out there.
Yeah.
But that's the tomorrow. But this poem is talking about but tonight.
Man. Whew, keep going. I don't have anything to say. I'm just kind of sitting in it.
So I also thought it was interesting to note that the description of the night is very specific. It talks about a summer evening, the moon rising over the orchard, the wind in the grass. But even though this is specific, this could be just about anywhere. Yeah. And I think it makes it that much more like able for us to relate to it, because, you know, people in Spain can be watching the moon rise over the orchard and stuff. Yeah. People in the States can too. And so it's just one more way that she made it. I feel like that's in part why so many people can connect to it, because it's not limited in its scope. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Something I just thought of is the line where it says that it's seeing twice as many stars. It's able to see. Obviously, that's kind of symbolic. I don't know if it's literally seeing twice as many stars, but like.
I mean, it is. It has two heads.
Yeah. The thing that makes it, quote, a freak of nature or unique and different is what is allowing it to see the world in twice as beautifully.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That
is very well said.
Thanks.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the structure.
Okay.
And so we've talked about kind of these feelings and like what we can draw from, again, 9 lines of text. It's kind of crazy. This is Laura Gilpin's real talent, is that she's able to make things sound very human and very stark. Yeah. Almost in its presentation. She's very calm and collected in her writing. Yeah. But she's able to create such a masterpiece. And so let me go. Have you ever heard of enjambment?
Probably. Why don't you say what it is first?
So it's this thing in poetry where it's the continuation of a sentence, like between a line break.
Okay, yeah.
And so,
I know what that is.
Like it says,
I've heard of that.
Yeah. It says, tomorrow when the farm boy finds this.
Hit enter on your keyboard.
And freak of nature, they will wrap his body in newspaper and carry him to the museum. Man. And so in my research, I found that this is very on purpose. And the way that Laura Gilpin uses enjambment makes it as powerful, like much more powerful than it could have been if it was just like a body of text. Yeah. Because it adds this flow to it, but it also gives your mind just a half second to wander. And so if we look at the first stanza, tomorrow when the farm boy finds this, and you're like, oh, it's gonna
what
be,
is this?
And then you get freak of nature.
Next line, yeah.
It's kind of a shock, and you're like, okay, freak of nature. Freak of nature, they will wrap his body, and then it says in newspaper. And so the first stanza is just hitting you with like freak of nature in newspaper. Like it's hitting you with the hard parts. Yeah. Instead of like, if you were just reading it, you know, you would get that whole thing. But the way that it's put together with this enjambment is that you have a chance to think, oh, they'll wrap his body in blankets or something. They'll be kinder than they were, or they'll be, you know, more different than freak of nature.
Yeah, it does give your mind a second to wander.
Just a little
before
bit.
It changes your expectations.
And it does the same thing in the second stanza. It relates the night in the field, and then he's in the night in the field with his mother, and then he's looking up at the stars, and then he's seeing twice as many. So it's this way to like add on to one idea and slowly make it bigger than it was, and give yourself a second to think about what could be and then what is.
That is storytelling.
It's beautiful.
That's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, please read more poetry. I'm saying that to myself. I'm saying it to every human being in the world. Dang. This is amazing.
I know. The last thing I want to mention is that this poem is in free verse, which, I mean, a lot of poetry is.
I know what that is. It means it doesn't like follow a rhyming scheme or something.
Yeah, it doesn't rhyme. Yeah. So there's no A, B and stuff. But it has the ghost of iambic pentameter in it.
I know what iambic pentameter is too. That's the rhythm that Shakespeare made.
Yes, good job. He listened in literature in 9th grade.
Because we had to do this freaking dumb assignment where we where we had to write a poem about like something related to school.
In iambic pentameter?
In iambic pentameter. Wow. We had to write it, and I was with...
It's hard.
It's hard. Well, it's hard, and also when you're with, like, a partner that you've never talked to in your life and who, like, both of you don't know how to write poetry, and we're like, what if we wrote about school lunch? And can we move on from this? I'm getting really uncomfortable.
In high school, I wrote the most, like, gut-wrenching confessional poetry of my entire life, and all the other boys in school were like, school lunch. Oh, man.
Me and bro writing about school lunch.
While the book girl in the corner is literally sobbing.
Yeah.
Oh man. But poetry, it'll do it to you.
Holy frick.
So that's the two-headed calf. And
there's two more.
Yeah, I'm not going to go over these necessarily.
Just a little
like
bonus.
I did. This is just a bonus because, like I said, most people know only the two-headed calf. And I wanted to say... Laura Gilpin's an amazing poet, and if you have access to or can find any of her other poems, they're published in a book called The Hocus Pocus of the Universe.
Cool.
And she has a second book that was published after her death.
Okay.
And so they're out there, and they're beautiful. And so here's two of my favorites. This one is simply called Four. It says, "The things I know, how the living go on living, and how the dead go on living without them. So that in a forest, even a dead tree casts a shadow, and the leaves fall one by one, and the branches break in the wind, and the bark peels off slowly, and the trunk cracks, and the rain seeps in through the cracks, and the trunk falls to the ground, and the moss covers it." And then there's a break. "And in the spring the rabbits find it, and build their nest inside, and have their young, and their young will live safely inside the dead tree.
Wow.
So that nothing is wasted in nature or in love."
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Dang, that's another one where I'm like, oh, where's it going? The tree's dying. Oh my gosh. And
yeah.
The rabbits.
Yeah. And like to start out with the two things she knows, how the living go on living and how the dead go on living without them.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then this second one.
Trigger warning, we're going to talk about a dead dog really quick, so you can skip a couple seconds ahead.
Mm-hmm. I didn't do a lot of research on it, but I did see that this was something that Laura wrote about seeing her mom pass.
Okay.
It's called Seeing a Dog in the Rain.
Ooh.
"It is raining, and there is a dog lying in the gutter, and the gutter is filling with water because the sewer is clogged. If the dog were alive, he would be drowning. But as it is, the water is simply stroking his fur." I'm going to cry.
You're going to cry?
It's so sad.
Did you just think about our dog?
No, I didn't. Oh, that's even worse.
I know.
But it's, like I said, this one is 6 lines, and it's beautiful. And I'm not going to analyze that one. You can go look it up. It's called Seeing a Dog in the Rain. That one's a personal one.
Dang. Wow, beautiful poems.
Yeah,
Dang.
They're beautiful. And gut-wrenching.
Gut-wrenching, but gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I need to read more poetry.
Seriously, the things that people can do with words.
Do we
Shout
have
out to Laura.
Or milk and honey? Okay, well, thank you, Laura. Thank you, Laura, for your cool poems and your two-headed calf.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Great topic.
I know.
Wow. I think what I got out of it is just that poetry is awesome and we should read more. But also that there's a lot more that poetry can do than just its words. Mm-hmm. Structure, enjambment, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. And I think Laura does a really good job at highlighting what's so good about life by first highlighting what's really awful about life. And she kind of finds this beauty in in like death, not like necessarily death specifically, but in like really bad things, mm-hmm. for lack of a better term. But you know, she with the dead tree trunk, I mean, she pictures moss growing through and someone making a home in there, and that's a valuable attitude.
Mm-hmm. And as we know, like, a therapy thing is to write poetry about the way that you feel, or even just journal the way that you feel.
Writing. And
I find it so cool that I don't know Laura's situation. I know that she was a confessional poet, but where this comes from, I wonder if it helped her, and
totally
her writing it down has probably helped.
Well,
thousands.
The poem about the dog was about her mom passing, so
It's personal stuff that it has the ability to help you through your situation.
Totally.
And then when published, it can even help
Other people.
so many other people.
Like on Reddit.
Like on Reddit.
Beautiful stuff. Wow.
Beautiful stuff.
Dang.
Okay, give me your topic.
All right, you know mine's a song.
Yeah.
And just like how you picked a poem that you love, I picked a song that I love.
Okay.
Do you have any guesses?
Keen.
It is Keen. Do you know what song?
Tear Up This Town.
No. Oh, I do like
Everybody's
that one,
Changing.
It is Everybody's Changing.
All right. That is like basically poetry. It's beautiful.
It is, yeah. Oh, just you wait.
Okay.
Because I did some research on this song.
Ah.
Sorry. Okay, listen. You're right. You're like, I know what you're thinking right now. You're going, Keen? That's not a band.
Keen. Somewhere Only We Know.
Yes. Do you know the song Somewhere Only We Know?
That's it.
Yes. That's you speaking to the... Thank you. Yes, you do. That song is by Keen. And it's Keen's Bohemian Rhapsody because it's their most famous song, but it's not their best song, just like Queen.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Hot take there, but we'll talk about that another day.
Is that really Queen's most famous song?
Easy. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Easy. Bohemian Rhapsody?
Okay, one time
They named the stupid movie after it. All right.
Oh, wait. One time I was at work and there's like, listen, there's the work radio and like you can turn it on in your office and...
Did you turn it on and it was like, Galileo?
Yeah, it was playing Bohemian Rhapsody and my boss like worked adjacent like offices with me.
Yeah.
And it was like halfway through the song and she was like, what the heck is this?
She never heard it?
No, I was like, aren't you like 50?
Yeah, what? All right, whatever.
It was weird.
Okay, maybe it's not their most famous song. Okay. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that, okay, Somewhere Only We Know is by Keen. That's all that you need to get out of that.
I almost said Keane. Keane.
Keane. It's named after one of the band members' moms. Or no.
Oh, really?
One of the band members' mom's friend.
Oh, what the?
Who like helped them out financially or something. Because they were originally called something else and then they changed it. Anyway.
They're like, we love Keane. We got to name our band after
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it is a English band. They're in the UK.
Oh, the British?
Yeah.
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Okay, all right. And they do really cool, like indie rock, I think, indie British rock. Something that sets them apart and something that I might talk about a little later is back when they started, and still now, I think that there are some songs that are an exception to this, but their band does not have a lead guitar. They use a piano or a keyboard for their lead instrument, which was pretty unique back then. I think someone else does that. I can't remember who it was, though.
ABBA.
Oh, ABBA. Yeah.
Yeah.
ABBA kind of does that, too. But anyway, it just results in a really cool sound and, like, really cool instrumentals, in my opinion.
It sounds different.
It sounds super different.
Everybody uses a lead guitar.
And, like, and that's, like, the reasons they gave for, like, they were like, everybody does this. We're going to do something different. So, like, pretty much every song they have starts out with, like, a really cool piano riff.
Love it.
That's super memorable. And, like, I'm an instrumental guy, and I love the piano anyways, so, like... I don't know, man. I don't get hooked on like specific artists usually, but you can witness this better than anybody. I've been on a Keen kick lately. I love their music. The
first road trip we took together, I was like, play some of your music. And the only songs he played were like old Minecraft parodies. And I was like,
those are good too.
Oh, but nothing else. I was like, oh, okay. The last road trip we took is only Keen.
I thought you were going to say the first road trip we took, he played Everybody's Changing by Keen, and that was it.
Okay, that was the only song that you knew, other than Minecraft parodies. Sorry.
Creeper.
No.
Oh man, that's a great song. I'll talk about that one.
Keep going.
I'm going to talk about that one instead.
No.
So, they have a song that's also on their debut album alongside Somewhere Only We Know called Everybody's Changing. It is my favorite song, period. And I really want to talk about it because I just like the way it sounds, but when I got into the lyrics, it really changed my perspective and it taught me something. So, okay. I already kind of talked about like why it's my favorite song. I first also want to talk about its music video because its music video is dope. Have you seen its music video? Okay,
no.
It has 3. One's like some exclusive that was on some network that you can't find anywhere.
It has 3 music videos for one song?
Yeah, and then there's one like a US version that I think they filmed at some tour, but the original one is just back then they only had 3 members. They have 4 now. But back then it was just the 3 members in a white room just singing the song. or performing the song, I should say. But the camera pans around, and as like it pans to different members, they change.
Ooh.
Like it changes from Tim, who's the pianist. I'm sorry, I forgot your last name, Tim. But it changes from him to like an NBA player, and then the singer changes into like a female bodybuilder, and then the drummer turns into like a gymnast or something. Watch the music video for Everybody's Changing. It's like the first thing that comes up on YouTube. It is awesome.
It sounds like everybody's changing.
Everybody's changing in the music video. So I really want to talk about why this song means so much to me, even more now. So I'm just going to read the lyrics. It's not a very long song because the chorus kind of repeats, and they only have like whatever. It's short, but the lyrics are: "You say you wander your own land, but when I think about it, I don't see how you can. You're aching, you're breaking, and I can see the pain in your eyes. Says everybody's changing, and I don't know why. So little time," this is the chorus, "so little time, try to understand that I'm trying to make a move just to stay in the game. I try to stay awake and remember my name, but everybody's changing and I don't feel the same." And then there's another verse that says, "You're gone from here, soon you will disappear, fading into beautiful light, because everybody's changing and I don't feel right." And then it just goes, it does the chorus twice. Really cool lyrics.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, really beautiful lyrics. You know, it's the same length as like other songs, but it has a lot of instrumental breaks and like it repeats itself a lot. It's a beautiful song. So when I did research about this song, sorry, my notes. I learned that Tim, their pianist, wrote this song just when they were starting out, and they were in their early 20s, all the Keen members. And they were trying to get Keen off the ground. They were trying to get this band that they were really passionate about on the ground. They had a couple demos, like their song Bend and Break, Somewhere Only We Know, that they were going on their debut album. And Tim wrote Everybody's Changing when he saw that all of his friends and his family were going off and doing all these amazing things, and he felt stuck just trying to get this band off the ground. And so he felt like everybody was changing. So I have a couple quotes here, and I'm going to read some of them and kind of talk about them, connect them to the song lyrics, and then I really want to talk about what this song means to me. So Tom Chaplin, the singer, said this about it: "It's kind of about being stuck in one place and watching everybody else around you moving along and feeling a bit depressed with it all." Okay? So that's kind of a summary of what I just said. Another quote from Richard. Is that their drummer? I don't know. Richard said this. I'm sorry I don't know the band well enough to know the members' names, but okay. "The song is about trying to work out where you are in the world. While some people around you are going and doing different things, Tim wrote it while we were really struggling." Okay, it is a band member. "Tim wrote it while we were really struggling to get anywhere as a band, and we were all watching our friends move away and get on with their lives while we were stuck in a battle getting nowhere and wondering if we were doing the right thing." Now, this is something that Tim said that I didn't know about, that really changed the way I think about the song. And then I'm going to circle back to what Tom said. Tim said, also, I'm going to read one quote first, and then I'm going to attach a different quote onto the other one. "Everybody's Changing is kind of written from the point of view of someone in a band, which is where we were. Just frustrated with everyone who seemed to alter who they were. It's kind of an angry song, but again, it's sympathetic. I can understand why people feel they have to change. I just felt we were in our early 20s/mid-20s. Suddenly, I felt there was more peer pressure, and everybody was desperately trying to be cool and desperately trying to leave behind who they had been before and try and reinvent themselves as socialites. Also, everyone I knew was jettisoning who they had been and was trying to be cool. I didn't know whether to go with that or not. I decided to stay my geeky self." So I really like those quotes. And that's where the lines, "I try to stay awake and remember my name," trying to make a move just to stay in the game, but everybody's changing and I don't feel the same. So this song is about everybody changing around you and you feeling bad about that, but not everybody around you is changing for the better. And you feel this pressure to change, but maybe, now, this is the message I get from the song. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling, but we're always thinking about progression, change, getting better. But sometimes it's okay to not change. And sometimes you need to stay true to who you are when everybody's changing and you don't feel the same.
That's so interesting.
Now, let me reread the quote from Tom Chaplin that I read earlier, because there was something that I left off of it. It's kind of about being stuck in one place and watching everyone else around you moving along and feeling a bit depressed with it all. In a good way, of course. And I was like, depressed in a good way? What does that mean? And so it kind of made me think that when everybody around you is jettisoning who they are, like Tim said, it's not a time of comparison, but it's a time of reflection. And so when looking, when you feel stuck and you're looking for what to do next in life and kind of looking at what everybody's doing and you feel like they might not be going the right way, it's time to look inward and remember who you are. And that's what I get from everybody's changing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that a lot of the purpose of life is to change and to get better and to keep, go to new places and become like fulfill your purpose and stuff like that. But I feel like this is a very common thing. I mean, especially I think for girls, is that when I was really young, I had these things that I loved. Like I loved the color pink and I loved to read and stuff like that. But as I grew older, people are like, oh, pink is for girls and it's stupid and stuff. And so I remember a change in my personality and being like, oh, I don't like pink anymore. I don't want to be known as a girly girl and stuff. And so my new favorite color was purple. And then it was like blue to be cool or whatever. And it was just like, it was based on everybody else doing it and stuff. And then now that I'm so much older, I feel like this has happened to a lot of people around me. I remember it's okay to be a girl now. And I love the color pink. Yeah. And I don't mind that other people think it's girly and stuff because it's something that I love. And it's something that I've loved my whole life.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
And, if you're trying to change, if there's something about you that you don't like, if there's a way that you're harming people, change, obviously. Like, change is good. We're not trying to say that change isn't good. But like with what you said, where like when you're just kind of being pushed around and being like, oh, wait, pink is not good, I need to change. That might not be a good reason to change, because if who you are is good and you're not harming anybody and you like pink, then don't change, man.
And I think that's a very juvenile and like a very low level version of interpreting this, like a favorite color. Yeah. But I think it gets so much more complicated than that. A quote that this actually reminded me of is Taylor Swift's new album came out. Yeah. And in one of her songs, she says that all of her friends either smell like weed or little babies. Yeah. Because in your 30s, everyone's either having kids or like partying. Yeah. And I think of how weird it is to grow up and to see my friends going off and having babies, and some of them are, in the military, and some of them are still living in my hometown and
doing all these different good things.
Yeah, or even doing nothing and stuff. And it's so weird to see it all, and it does make you question kind of your place in it. And so it's cool that this song is saying, hey, you can still keep these portions of yourself that are good, even when everything is changing. Totally. Even if changing is good, you can stay the same.
Yeah. And I try to stay awake. That line, I try to stay awake and remember my name.
Yeah, that's cool.
You got to remember who you are. You're trying to stay awake. You're trying to stay alert, not trying to get swept up in things. I feel like nowadays we're just being bombarded with like, you have to do this and you have to do this. And there's so many opinions online all the time. Everybody has to say something. But like, everybody's changing, but when I remember who I am and like my values, I remember my name and like what I've become and like
the basest parts of yourself.
The basest parts of myself that I'm proud of. I don't want to change those for anybody.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting to look at, I've heard this song lots because I am married to you. And it's cool to me that the music goes, he's like basically yelling like everybody's changing, and
It's
then,
a really upbeat song.
Yeah.
It's indie rock.
yeah,
with
but
a
then
piano.
it goes lower in tone, and
Yeah.
he says, "But I don't feel the same, and
Yeah.
but I don't know why." And so it feels like this is all happening around me and stuff, and I don't know where I'm supposed to be
Yeah,
in
exactly,
it. And that's
exactly.
cool. Like even like musically, he has this whole theme going on.
Yeah, and I love the first line, like, you say you wander your own land, but when I think about it, I don't see how you can.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a good line, because you're looking at people and you're like, how can, that's what you were just saying with like, how can you be doing all this? It's like insane. And like, I think that line especially is when he talks about how he's like, oh, everybody's just trying to be cool. And like, I just want to like stay myself. Because he's specifically talking about people who are being disingenuous and just like being changed by like the winds of like social norms or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Not social norms, but you get what I'm trying to say. But he is like, who I am is geeky and I like that, and like I don't want to wander my own land. And so he's like, you know, why are you like wandering around here? How can you do that?
That's cool.
And he, you know, he could also be singing to himself. There's just a lot to this song. It's poetry.
Maybe there's a little of confessional poetry.
Yeah,
in there.
right?
So it's such an individual experience.
Well, definitely. And he even says like it's an angry song.
Yeah,
Almost, because
yeah.
he's like, why is everybody changing? I don't feel right.
Yeah.
You know, because he feels that pressure to change, but he's like, I don't need to change. Like, I'm trying to do my own thing. I'm trying to do this band that I believe in and I think is good. Why do I need to change? And so, like, this song just inspires me, and it makes me, and it reminds me of who I am, and it reminds me to be genuine, and I love it.
Beautiful, McKay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love it. I feel like it's also, I think my last final thought is
Okay.
that I see a lot of music that's like, I have money and a big house, like stuff like that, that celebrates the wealth and fame that can come from the music industry.
Totally.
But there's the other half of it that says the music industry is really hard and
Yeah.
I don't know where I fit in. And sometimes that is a very difficult thing to put out there as a musician. It's like saying you're a two-headed calf. Basically, like you're different and it's weird.
Yeah, no, really.
But it's what makes the art beautiful is that you're putting it out there still.
Yeah. You're about to go out, be put in a museum, be wrapped up in newspaper, and be put on for the world to see as something
That's tomorrow.
different. But that's tomorrow, and right now you're just trying to form a band and stay true to yourself.
Cool.
Dude.
Yeah, we can relate any topics.
That's all I have to say about Everybody's Changing.
Thank you. That was awesome. I was kind of waiting for you to do a Keen song.
Man, it's like the only music I like. That's not true, but
it's
like
the inevitability of me doing a Hosier song. I'm wearing my Hosier shirt.
we already talked about Hosier on our New Year's episode.
I will again.
We'll probably talk about him again.
Well, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Follow us on our socials. We'll post on there more probably.
Kisses on the mouth.
Yeah, kiss us. No, what? Stop saying that.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.